There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win. Win.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
What is up, EoP sports fans? It's Wednesday night, a little after 8:30. It's time for EoP. I'm Big Al.
I'm Freddie Burns.
And our boy Joey Sheeran is off tonight. Joe, we're thinking of you tonight, buddy. We'll talk to you a little later, but we will take care of you guys for all your Philly sports needs. And it has been a crazy Wednesday here at EoP already. Party on Broad kicked it off this afternoon. Of course, our boys Chet and Bill over at Philly Press Box Radio had our boy Keith Pompey on to talk your Philadelphia 76ers. And then you guys are going to end the night with these two knuckleheads right here. So we will be getting into all that. And I want to thank our great sponsors at cherryinjurylaw.com, sherrystickets.com, dolansbar.com, as well as for phillysportstrips.com. We will get into all of them in just a moment. Guys, tonight's also going to act as a little amalgamation of the Fightins final and
Google that.
Yeah, Google that. Of
I don't even know what it means.
Of Edge of Philly Sports, our EoP Live here. So let's just start off. The Phillies, the game was at 4:05 today, and it ended in a 3-2 loss in the 10th, putting your Philadelphia Phillies at 4-8 on the season. That's right, your fighting finals. The National League defending champs are at 4-8. They dropped 2 of 3 against the Florida Marlins or the Miami Marlins. And they're sitting at 6-7. So that should sting a little bit going into it. We're going to break it all down in a moment. You're looking at some key players. You're looking at your line right now from Stott, who it was 2 for 5 with a RBI and the 2 strikeouts. Turner, he was
12-game hitting streak.
Yeah, 12-game hitting streak. Turner's 2 for 5 today. Schwarber with 0 for 3. Castellanos was 1 for 4 with a hit. Remuto was 4-0. Marsh was 1 for 4, I should say. Oh, not 4-0, 0-4. They both were. Remuto and Marsh were 0-4. Bohm was 1 for 4. Jay Cave was 0 for 2, and Mundo Sosa came in. He was also 0 for 2. Clemens actually had his first hit as a Philadelphia Philly. Cody he was 1 for 2. Harrison was 0 for 1, and Pache actually stepped in at one point and was 0 for 1. And that is your scoring for the Philadelphia. And the way the scoring really went down, like I said, it wasn't really anything. It was more of a pitcher's duel. Again, we're going to get into that in a second, but it was both teams scored in the fourth, making it 1-1. The Miami started off in the top of the fourth with Brian De La Cruz singling on a line drive to right field. And Arraez, I don't say his name, Arraez, scored, making it 1-0 Miami, ending the top of the fourth. Bottom of fourth, Brandon Marsh singles on a ground ball to right field, and Nick Castellanos scores, and it is now a tied score, 1-1.
He's hitting .311 and .811 OPS in 170 plate appearances.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we're going to get a couple of the highlights, even though there's a lot more lowlights to talk about. Top of the fifth, there was a sac fly, which made it 2-0. I'm sorry. No, that's my bad. There was a key moment. This was actually not a scoring play. This was a key moment with Miami flying out with bases loaded, which kept the game at 2-1. Kept it at 1-1, and then 2-1 in the bottom of the fifth with Bryson Stott again, like you said, continuing his hitting streak. 2 for 5 today, and adding the RBI, and he scored Cody Clemens. In the seventh, a big strikeout kept the Phillies in the game on Jazz Chisholm, and then in the eighth, solo home run tied the game up by Solar, and then we bring us back down into all the way to the ninth, where both teams can't make anything happen, bringing us into extra innings. Of course, we're back. This is the first extra inning game for the Phillies, putting the for those who are whatever you want to call it, zombie runner, or ghost runner at second. They were able,
Ghost.
they were able to score.
Zombie doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah, I guess. They were able to. Miami was able to score in the top of the 10th, making it 3-2. And Pache pops out at the bottom of the 10th. Stott was called out on strikes, making it 2 outs. And Trey Turner flied out to mid left center field, and that was it. And your Fighting's Phils went down 3-2, losing this series. Fred, since you haven't done a Fighting's final with you, so I guess this will be my first technically. I mean, I know we always feel like we ask this question, like, are we going to hit the panic button? But it's they're 33% on the year, but it's only 12 games into the year. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings about the knuckleheadedness, the bad base running, the bad defensive miscues?
They're not 0-12.
Yeah,
that's a positive to take. There are positives to take with Bryson Stott and Marsh hitting the ball well. Wheeler's velocity was up, and he actually got out of a bad inning where he had the bases loaded. It looked like they were going to pull him, but he was able to get out of that inning, came back the next inning, was throwing 96 miles per hour. So that velocity is up. That's a good thing to take away. The mental errors are something we saw under Joe Girardi. They kind of stopped when Tomper took over, or at least it felt like they stopped, or maybe they played to a level that made it feel like they stopped, but they're back. And the issues and they're calling the fire Dusty Wathan, Wathan, and which is this is the same staff we had that got us to the World Series. I just think right now there's fundamentally some miscues here. Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins were big leaders, and though Rhys, I was an advocate to trade him. I still would be. Apparently, he was a big leader in that clubhouse. So I don't know if that's a factor with as far as the miscues. We'll see. JT's not playing all that well. He's very bad at the plate right now. 1 for 17 his last 4 games. No walks, 9 strikeouts.
The top lead hitters, you're looking at, JT. You're looking at, why am I just
Trey Turner?
Trey's been better, but Schwarber, JT, those 2 guys who should be kind of leaders right now without a Bryce Harper in the lineup, those guys have really been struggling at the plate and have almost been automatic outs at one point. Stott has been a breath of fresh air in this fact. If he wasn't playing as well, we'd probably be worse off than where we're at right now.
Oh, yeah.
Trey Turner hasn't had that moment yet. He had all those moments in the World Baseball Classic.
I know. He's still playing well. He's 2 for 5 today. He's playing a good player. But, yeah, he hasn't had that clutch
If he was
moment.
able to, tie the game or even win the game today, he would have had that moment, that coming to Philly moment, I call it. I'm here, and here I am.
Even last night, though, him and JT, the batter, I forget who walked. Maybe it was I forget who. Marsh, maybe Marsh walked. Whoever walked, because Trey, did Trey lead off on last night?
No,
Stott. So maybe Stott walked Stott walked. So then Trey Turner comes up and swings at the first pitch, and then after Trey, Schwarber walks, and this guy's definitely wild right now. And then Trey Turner, Real Muto swings at the first pitch, ground out, or it was a double play. I forget exactly what, but I texted my buddies. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, fundamentally, just common sense is like, all right, this guy walked the guy. The next guy swung at the first pitch, got out. Then he walked the next guy. Maybe I should step back and take a few pitches here, and let's see what happens.
Throw me a strike, and then I'll swing at it. If you let the guy throw you a strike, then you worry about swinging about it. It's a simple, fundamental baseball that is forgotten. And I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of swagger coming off the World Series run, getting their rings. Maybe they're still kind of high on themselves. I mean, they actually have top 3, top 5 batting average in baseball right now, but they're 21st, 22nd in score
runners in scoring position,
scoring runners or RBIs and all that stuff.
Not getting the runners in, and I don't know what the number was updated to today because I was doing a show towards the end of the game, Party on Broad, so I don't know what it ended, but the runners in scoring position continue to be a major issue. At the same time, that's a major positive as well,
Mm.
which tells you you're 4-8. We are getting runners on the bases.
Yeah.
And I think with this lineup, eventually it's going to have to turn around. Like it's going to turn around. I can't see it not. Matt
They were
Gelb,
2 for 12, by the way, today with runners in scoring position.
so the runners are there. So we're getting on base.
Mhm.
Got to knock them in. Got to find ways, and that comes down to even what I just said, like good approaches at the plate.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been a perfect time for Trey to take some pitches or JT, maybe load the bases. You know, instead of it's just fundamental. It sounds like it's mental errors there as far as that goes. The way to play the game. Matt Gelb, we can get Bryce Harper back, but apparently Matt Gelb just reported 15 minutes ago that he's preparing to play first base. Bryce Harper is to come back, so he's been warming up so getting his bat back in the lineup. Apparently,
feel that he might be able to play first base because of with his surgery sooner than in right field. I guess.
Well, yeah, because throwing the ball from the outfield could cause more further injury if you're just whipping it around the horn. And first base, you're not really throwing that
You're
much.
more catching.
You're catching.
Yeah.
So
that's why I played first base. Yeah, I get it. But like you said,
my point is getting him back will be good. And you know, we just got to get the bats going again. And Nick Castellanos has had great approaches at the plate. He's not the guy I'm going to knock. I think he was 1 for 5 today, maybe, but he's getting on base, walking. I forget how many doubles he has. We talked about it last week. You still don't see the power from him yet, which is what we thought we were getting. I think there's signs of it turning around. They're 4-8. You know, if they're not 0-12, it's not that the Marlins are 6-7. I think the Braves are 6-5, 7-4, something like that. It's not like there's a team in this division that is far and away blowing out of the water early. So there's not much ground to cover, and we got a 4-game set with the Reds here.
We're 4 games out of first place behind the Braves, who are 8-4.
No, that's nothing. That's nothing. So, you know, I think we're good. It's not panic time.
We only played one less game. We won the same amount of games as the Nationals. That makes you feel a little worse.
Well,
I know. I'm just kidding. They're 4-9.
If they struggle with, they were complaining about the pitch clock early on, making excuses there. Like they're going to get used to that stuff. The pitchers as well. I'm just not ready to panic. I just think she gave away games. You know what I mean? When you have the lead. Now they took one Saturday night, gave one away on Sunday. They should have won last night, and even today. You know, at these close games, you want to try to be clutch and win these games. You know.
Let me ask you this question. So Stott's batting average right now is at 420. Which he's not going to end the season that way, but he's sitting at 420 right now. Turner's at 321. Then you got Kyle Schwarber, who's batting third today at 188. And then you got Nick Castellanos, who's at 295. And then you got JT Realmuto, who's batting at 200. Brandon Marsh is at 387. Bohm is at 333. And then, of course, the bottom of the lineup, which changes around a little bit, can be anywhere from Sosa, who's batting at 261, all the way down to Clemens, who's batting at 111. But do you make all right, not saying you have to demote guys, but do you say, all right, we got to get more of the guys who are hitting consistently together in the lineup? Like, do you maybe move Marsh up and maybe Schwarber down or two a notch? I mean,
they're so fixated on put him on the top of the lineup. Sometimes it drives me nuts. Where did he bat today?
Who?
Schwarber.
Third.
And then he batted second last night, right? So they're so fixated with this guy at the top of the lineup. I just don't understand it. Like the average is in there. Thompson said the other day, and it got me excited. He wants to have Stott and Trey at the top to wreak havoc on the base pass, which you don't hear that much anymore in MLB. But with the new rules and the new bases and all that, apparently it's going to be a thing. But let's keep it that way. Let Schwarber be a power guy. And let's have runners on base the way it always has been. I understand the whole he'll get more at bats. But, I'm over that. It doesn't seem to – even last year, he hit all those home runs. But what was the batting average? 218? 2-0, and the shift is off. That's supposed to help him. Just get him down at the bottom of the lineup. Put him in the 4, 5, 6 hole. And I would let it ride that way.
I agree. It's it's a hard decision to make. If you move them around, you hurt their confidence. Do You know, like we said, I'm not panicking. You know, I would say I was probably one of the more cool, calm, collective guys. You know, when people are asking, "Oh, is this season over?" You know, even before they fired Joe Girardi, and I said it's not over, but it's not. It's much closer to being over than it was not. And I think such high expectations coming out. I think people are you're getting the feel of not having um, Reese in the lineup because, like you said, I would have been okay with trading him, but now that you don't have him, it hurts.
Plus,
Yeah.
not having him and Harper and other batters struggling.
Yes.
It's all like a bigger a coupled effect,
Yeah.
domino effect. That's what I'm looking for.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like, if you just simply switch Nick out of the 4 and put Schwarber in the 4, even though he's not hitting that well, you still got 1, 2, 3 guys who are the lowest average is 295. Like, I feel like if you want to string some hits together, you could just simply
Then
try that.
try it, but then at the same time, like the thing with Thompson is consistency.
Yeah.
And keeping the same lineup and sticking to it, which the player, I feel like we're tinkering a little bit too much, even when they moved Stott up, and it worked out because it has worked. I was thinking in my head, I'm like, why don't we just like he's doing pretty good where he's at? Why don't we just like leave him there? Like, why are we messing around? He obviously it has no impact. He's continuing to hit the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to panic. We got 4 games against the Reds. 3 out of 4 would make me feel a lot better. If they lose 3 out of 4, it's going to be very concerning.
Okay, let me ask that question: Is winning this series not just 200, or 500 the series, 2 for 2 or 2 for 4 or whatever? Like, if they don't win this series, are you now getting ready to hit that panic button?
If they tie the series, I don't know.
If it's
tough.
anything more than 3 or a sweep or 3 or 4, are you panicking?
I'm not because we're still in it. I'm not. I'll never panic. I mean, if the Braves sweep their series and now we're suddenly 10 games out, but it's baseball. It's such a long season. There's going to be a period of even those bad teams would have a period of time where we thought they were in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the time's going to come where that happens here, and I think we have the roster that can ride that momentum further. They're going to make a trade at the trade deadline. Right now, it's just a matter of not being terrible. So even
kind of like when Harper went down, keep your head afloat. That's what we said. Keep our head afloat until we can get Harper back. But we actually did more than that.
Right. Yeah. And it's just baseball. It's just there's pointless to panic. It's not going to be fun either. Like what? Yeah. I don't want a summer where they're terrible or to lose hope. I'm not a lose hope guy. I'm an optimist. So that's and I know a lot of people are like, oh, every game that they suck, this guy stinks. But like, that's just not the way to do it. Like even last year into September, they almost didn't make the play. They stumbled into the playoffs.
I think Ruben Amaro Jr. said on one of the post-game shows in the last couple of days, maybe on Easter Sunday, he goes, they were talking about how they stumbled in September, and he actually thought they were not going to make the playoffs. Ruben,
it was so close.
Yeah.
They were if the Brewers weren't stumbling as well.
Yeah. Like who stumbled harder at the time. Like,
and then even that first game against the Cardinals, it took that 9th inning comeback to win. You know, so like it's baseball. It's a magical game as far as that goes. Just calm down. The losses are the losses. Let's just.
And like you said, there's
a series at a time.
There's a ton of games going on. You can always going down the ballpark's fun, especially when they're winning. Even now it's different. But I know I use sherrystickets.com. Fred, you're a big fan of it as well. We've used it for our family, our friends, and everything. We go to sherrystickets.com. We know what we're going to pay. We know we're not going to get bamboozled at checkout. And we know we can save additional 10% off by using our own promo code, EOP10. That's for sports, concerts, theaters, you name it. sherrystickets.com. 10% off by using the promo code EOP10, and you will not get blasted with some fees at the end when you're checking out. Go to sherrystickets.com. I'm not hitting the panic button either, but I do look at the upcoming schedule, and I don't want to kind of forecast or do anything like that, but you got 4 games against the Reds. I mean, they're on the road, but you got 4 games against the Reds and then 3 games against the White Sox, and you come home to the Rockies, who you usually do pretty well against at home, historically.
White Sox are 5-8, and then we haven't played any divisional games either. You got to remember that.
No, we did today.
Oh yeah, the Marlins. I always forget about that. I always write them off, and they always kill
So you
us.
pretty much
every
didn't
year.
say we didn't play any of the Mets, the Braves yet.
Yeah. The Mets are the Braves. Good point.
But
you can make up ground quickly that way.
I mean, if you could, like a sweep would be amazing of those 7 games. But if you could come out 5-2 on that, yeah, that's amazing. But what about the opposite happens?
Well, then it's over.
Yeah, I mean,
but my point is, it's not over right now.
Yeah, no.
And like going into these series and these games, assuming it's over, and like, blah 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 blah. Like it's just a shitty fan. Like I just don't. I never agreed with it. Maybe I'm let down more, or it's a coping mechanism. But like, I'm the guy in 8th grade writing like Eagles are going to the Super Bowl on my pencil case. Like they weren't going to the Super Bowl. But like,
it was December, and they were like, they have 3 wins under their belt. He's like, they're going to the Super Bowl.
Not that before the season, but like, but like in '96 and '95, like I thought those teams were going. And they got to the playoffs.
Our dream,
But that's just the way I am. You can be the other way if you want and be like, oh, I was right, they stunk. But I much rather. There was one time I was that, not one time, but one of the times I do remember being like a curmudgeon about the Phillies. And that was in 2008.
Oh, really?
So, like, I'm like, when they got swept in 07, I was such a curmudgeon about them. And then I'm like, the CC series, I was like, oh, my God, this is amazing. And then, obviously turned the other way. But
so like we said, the Phillies will have a day off tomorrow, and they will start, or not a day off tomorrow. That's right now. They're going right to American Ballpark in Cincinnati. They have a 4-game series. So we will be covering that with the Fighting's Final. But one thing we do in the Fighting's Final, we really don't do here on EoP, but I will keep up the tradition here as we go around the league today and see what the scoreboard looks like. The Astros beat the Pirates by a touchdown, 7-0. The Mets beat the Padres 5-2. The Yankees beat the Guardians 4-3. The Twins beat the White Sox 3-1. The Mariners beat the Cubs 5-2. The Cardinals beat the Rockies 7-4. The Diamondbacks beat the Brewers 7-3. Of course, we talked about the Phillies Marlins, which was 3-2 Marlins. The Angels beat the Nationals 3-2. The Athletics and the Orioles are at the end of the 8th right now, with the A's up 7-4 over the O's. And the Rays are 8. They're in the middle of the 8th, 8-7. So this is a close game. So would they finally get their first loss? Because I think they're 11-0 in the season at this point. And then the Tigers are up 3-1 on the Blue Jays at the top of the 9th. The Reds and the Braves are tied 3-3 at the top of the 7th.
Go Reds.
The Royals are beating the Rangers 6-1 at the bottom of the 4th. And there's a 9:45 game for any of you late baseball lovers. The Dodgers will be taking on the Giants in San Fran. So that is your scoreboard for today. So that is your abbreviated, whatever you want to call it, version of the Fighting's Final here on EoP Live. But I mean, just talking some Phillies with you, Fred. I mean, I agree. I think I'm in the same ballpark with you. I'm not worried, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing, and it makes me look over my shoulder a little bit. Like watching what they're doing and seeing some guys struggle as they do, and you always know somebody's going to struggle. And JT got blasted a lot last year at one point for not stepping up, but then when Harper went down, he was the guy who really, between him and Schwarber, I would say were the guys who stepped up and really played well. So I mean, I don't see it not happening. Like I mean, we sometimes got to wait Schwarber out to June. Hopefully, just keeps a decent 215 or not decent, but a 215, 225 until he gets to June. You know what I mean? It's just we're looking for that clutch hitting, and they don't have that right now. And I think that's what most people are nervous about.
You make a good point there with the clutch hitting, because clutch, it has been the difference in a lot of these games. They had it, the clutch hitting on Saturday, which brought the crazy vibes back, and you thought, hey, they're going to go on a run here. We're going to sweep them.
Or you go to Monday when they took on one of the best pitchers in baseball and put up. They had, that
was a good night there. That's not really a clutch situation.
Yeah,
I think most of these losses are coming down to close game, runners on, don't come up with or errors, like you said earlier.
Like I was saying, they had
mental errors.
They had 49 runs scored going into today's game, right? They had 15 on Monday.
Yeah, that's
Let that
bad.
sink in for a second.
Yeah.
I think that's where they were like ranked 22nd or 21st or something in the scores runs scored. Yeah, I mean it's this is baseball, and this is if you're you could tell the difference between a casual baseball fan, maybe somebody who like picked it up like during the run last year, bought all their new Phillies stuff, and now they're sitting down to watch it. They're like, well, they stink again. I don't want to watch them anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you have to love baseball, even with the pitch clock and games moving faster. It still can be a boring product if this is what's happening.
It can be.
Yeah, I mean,
baseball can be, but it is done quickly. I have to say, and maybe that's a topic to we talked about it a little bit last week. I don't want to hit it again. I love it. I love the pitch clock. My daughter gets to watch the games. Real quick. She comes home from softball on this past Monday, right? So we're listening to the game on the way back from softball, and I coach. And she comes in the house and goes, "Give me the remote. I'm putting the Phillies on." No, I didn't say anything. And I'm just shutting my mouth, letting it. Dad, how do I get this on?
You're like,
how do I get this on? Because we stream, so she's trying to figure out how to get it on. I'm like, well, do that. And then her mom, my wife goes, she's giving Freddie and Zach a bath, and she goes, all right, kind of get out. We're gonna watch Bluey. And my daughter, who likes Bluey, flips. We're not watching Bluey. I'm watching the Phillies right now, and I'm like, I love it. I love it. Now I have another.
You teared a little bit. It choked you up. Let's be honest.
I don't know if I teared. I think I got pumped
as a parent.
I got pumped because now, like, she's into it. Like, I came up from the Party on Broad and show, and I said to her, I was like, the Phillies lost, all. She's like, I know, I watched it. I'm like, what? My 8-year-old daughter is watching the Phillies.
Yeah, great, isn't it? I mean, my 7-year-old's the closest right now. My older son will watch it, but he's not like me. He'll these kids nowadays, they check up on the phone. They get the updates. They go on Twitter, that kind of stuff. So, and then they will jump in because they'll say, "Oh, tight game in the 8th, tied score, check it out," or somebody blasted a massive home run or grand slam, and that's when they'll jump in. They're not like you and me, like, first inning, here we go. Let's get this on. But no, that is pretty cool though. I wish my son is falling into a little because he'll ask me, "Can we watch the Phillies?" And I'm like, kind of like your daughter did, like kind of the blue. I'm like, yeah, but then that doesn't last too long.
Right.
You get a couple innings out, and they're like, all right, can we watch something else? I'm like, no, I'm watching this. We have only 20.
Hit a home run, damn it.
We only had 27 TVs in the house. Go pick one, and you can watch TV on your phone or something. So no, get lost. But yeah, no, it is fun when they get into it like you do. I mean, especially when you don't have to go to the game and spend like $12 on popcorn and $12 on cotton candy and $20 on a soda, because that's the only way they like it. Because that's what they think of. Like the ones who like it, like, well, we go to the game, I get free junk, so I want to go. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be a good moment as a father for you to just be like, yeah, my daughter watched it without even me telling her. Like, that's
especially because it's boring for most kids.
Yeah.
That's what I was surprised. But yeah, that's my bright spot for the season, I guess.
So far. But I mean, it's a spot nonetheless. But the team we can really talk about right now is your Philadelphia 76ers. There is a game going on right now. One of the playing games. There you go.
Al got me this jersey too, by the way.
That's
Thanks,
right.
Al.
I did. I forgot about that. 87-84. Toronto is leading them right now. Leading Chicago Bulls right now to see who's going to be playing the Bucks. Who will go on to play? I'll tell you right now. I had it up here. The Heat to see who will play the Bucks. Whoever wins this will play the Heat to see who will play the Bucks. So right now it's 87-84. Toronto up with about 8 minutes left in the fourth. So we'll keep an eye on that and keep you up to date. But I kind of want to go through this play-in tournament or talk about the tournament in all with you right now. Did you watch any of last night's game against the Hawks and the Heat? I didn't get.
I did.
Okay. Anything you saw in that game that
playoff Jimmy Butler did not appear.
Really?
he wasn't really And these don't actually count as playoff games. That's the stats don't even count, which I
Well, if it gets you in the playoffs, wasn't it count more of a playoff game
it's
than
like
anything else?
it's a postseason game, but it's not. It doesn't count in the playoff stats.
Oh, so they win tonight. They're not getting an extra playoff.
Like
game
whatever his
extra.
stats were would not go towards Jimmy Butler in the playoffs or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, I mean, he missed some layups down the stretch, but they were down most of the game. You know, the Hawks brought it to them, and they just didn't have it. They were down double digits, close to most of the game. They made some runs to get it close to 7-5. And there were a couple plays he missed open layup. So that was a takeaway because I really wanted them to win because I think Spoelstra against the Celtics will pose I don't think they'll lose to the Celtics, but it will make the series much more tougher for the Celtics coming into us. We'll at least know it's a tough series that they're going to go into. There's a little bit of a rivalry there going back to LeBron and when LeBron was on the Heat. So I wanted that, but that's not happening, obviously. So the Hawks move on. I think the
Heat play whoever wins the Bulls Toronto game.
Right. Who would then play the Bucks.
Yes.
So, I want the Heat in there because I think the Heat will give the Bucks a challenge as well. I really don't want to see the Bulls get in. That's the one thing here.
Only if they were playing us.
The one here.
Only if they were playing
Which ain't happening.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. If they're playing us, I'd be like, yeah, please the Bulls.
As a Sixers fan here, you should be rooting for the Raptors here. And then I would root for Miami, but we definitely don't want the Bulls in there because we know these teams are going to win the series. The Boston, I mean, there's a chance.
You just want somebody who's going to give them a challenge.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to avoid the Heat. Not that the Nets aren't going to give us a challenge, and we're going to get into that, but I just didn't want to get banged up by the Heat. So, yeah, that was my takeaway from last night. But I don't see that being a consistent thing. 7-game series, Butler's going to show up. So, yeah, and then the night game, I went to bed with the Timberwolves up. I don't even know what they were up, 11 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up and LeBron and AD brought them back and they won. The Lakers won. So the Lakers getting hot here at the end of the season.
And they get to go on to play the Grizzlies. Do you think there's any, there's a series there?
Yeah.
2 seed versus 7 seed, upset?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got LeBron James who
the NBA is going to make sure he wins.
I don't know. He's a good player, man. I hate I've always not liked his personality from when he walked off the court against the Magic and the Cavs. That's when I kind of jumped off the LeBron train. But he's one of the he's arguably the greatest player to ever to play the game. Now I don't agree. I think Michael Jordan is, but there's the case to be made for it. He's playing at such a high level at this age is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the IQ. He's been there before. To him to go win a title now would be would really push him past.
That would
possibly.
Solidify. Maybe not the greatest, but it would push it. It would
the LeBron argument would be definitely top. You know what I mean? It'd be a harder argument to make for Jordan at that point. But so I think it's definitely gonna be tough for the Grizzlies. I don't know what the Vegas has. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers.
I'll look that up if I can in a second.
If it was even money or close to it. So yeah, that should be an interesting series.
So with the T-Wolves losing, they now wait to play the winner of the Pelicans Thunder game. Who do you see coming out victorious out of that?
Probably the Pelicans, but I mean the Thunder's been a crazy story this year to make a run.
2-game differential, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean the Thunder could do it. They're an exciting team.
Who do you think makes it to the actual playoff round?
Isaiah Joe. Be nice to see Isaiah Joe.
Yeah,
in the
true.
playoffs.
Who do you think actually ends up making it to play the Nuggets in round 1?
Well, what are we down to?
You got the Pelicans, Thunder, or it's going to either.
I think it'll be the T-Wolves.
The T-Wolves.
I think Gobert will come back, though he stinks, and I don't think he's that great of a player.
Yeah.
I still don't understand how Ben Simmons didn't win Defensive Player of the Year over him. But or even Embiid for that matter that year. But anyhow, yeah, I still think the Wolves will get that win there, and then they'll lose to the Nuggets. So.
All right, so let's.
But imagine like this: if the Lakers would have lost and got that 8 seed against the Nuggets, that would have been amazing because there would have been. I think the Lakers could have beat the Nuggets because.
Oh really?
1 versus 8.
Okay.
Like a healthy Lakers team with a healthy AD and a healthy LeBron is a force.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing with the Warriors being, I think, the 6th seed. You got a healthy Warriors team now with Wiggins coming back. That's a problem too. And then the Suns, they haven't played much together, but I think they're 8-0 when Durant's in the lineup. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
All right, so I want to kind of run through this first playoff round, the matchups, just quickly break down your feelings on how you think things would play out. Let's start with the Western Division, and we know the Lakers and Grizzlies, and you kind of already talked about it, and you feel that if you're putting money down on it, just to straight win or lose, you feel the Lakers will win this.
Nah. If I'm putting money down, I just think it'll be a series. I think they can win. I'd take Grizzlies in 6 or 7.
Okay.
So I feel 7. I may put that bet down. To nail it may go 6 or 7.
Okay.
Barring injury, obviously, which can happen at any time with Anthony Davis.
The other one is very geographically close. I mean, they're closer than us playing a New York team. The Warriors and Kings will be taking each other on in the 3 and 6 spots. What are your feelings on that one?
See, this is the thing. Like the Kings most of the year were number 1, and like everyone was like flipping out about the Sixers when the Sixers are always number 1. I'm like, dude, the team that's won, and same with the Celtics, never really. I feel like they fall off by the end of the year, and the same thing happened to this Kings team, who's fun to watch. But you're going up against a veteran team that has won how many titles? Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Wiggins.
That's why I ask. Like,
that's a problem.
If I'm just looking at it and I cover up like their win loss and all that stuff, and cover up the 3 and 6 seed, I mean, normally you're going to pick the Warriors to win that, right? Again,
I think the Warriors will win that series, and I think there's a strong chance the Warriors get to the NBA Finals.
Wow!
Like, why not?
You're telling me there's a chance that the 6th and 7th seed could make
noise. I think they can make
noise, but maybe
they've been injured all year. This isn't the regular season team.
Sure, no, you're right.
And I mean,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Just got to the playoffs for the first time. What a letdown for them fans if that happens.
Yeah,
but like this is the Warriors. They're well coached. Draymond Green, I can't believe I just forgot his name. Like, Poole, like Jordan Poole, like. I mean, I don't even know what the line is. I'll bet. Are the Warriors favored even? I think the Warriors win that series.
Okay. Your next matchup is the 4-5 matchup, which is a close matchup normally. You're looking at the number 4 Suns going on against the number 5 Clippers, and Kevin Durant is still questionable about starting or if he'll be ready or not to start the series. What are your thoughts, even with or without Kevin Durant?
Well, the Clippers are going to be without Paul George.
I know he's
apparently.
They said there's a slight chance he might make it back this first round.
With Paul George, I think they have a shot. I don't know. I don't think Tyronn Lue is the greatest coach. Kawhi Leonard, though, at any time we saw what he has done in the past, can take over a series. The thing is, Durant is Durant. You got Durant, Chris Paul, Ayton, Devin Booker. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat the Suns there. I'd probably go Suns in 6.
Okay. And then the 8th seed, we don't know who we'll have yet, but we'll be playing the Nuggets. Do you feel that any of these teams, from the T-Wolves to the Thunder to the Pelicans, could give the Nuggets a run for their money?
I don't. I think the Nuggets will win that. It may have some close games, or maybe Nuggets in 6, but yeah, I don't.
I'm going to take a different look on the Eastern Conference. Let's start with the 4-5 matchup here. The Cavs versus Knicks. Everybody always loves the Knicks team since how they're just such a good team, but yet, not being a 5 seed is terrible, but at the same time, they're still a 5 seed. Everybody just likes to stroke the New York team in my eyes, but I'm not sold on them. And I honestly, I think the Cavs win this one. I think it's going to be a knockout, drag-out series. Definitely a series can go 6 or 7, but I think the Cavs win this one. What are your feelings on that?
Well, the Knicks, Julius Randle's injured. He practiced, though, so that's a big factor for the Knicks. They're an exciting team. Jalen Brunson. It's going to be a fun series. It's tough because the Cavaliers have played good ball all year, but they started to slow up. I'm going to go get the home court advantage. I'm going Knicks.
Okay.
My gut is telling me it's their time to get to the next round. It'll be fun to see a second round playoff matchup at Madison Square Garden. So give me the Knicks. It might go 7.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that could go 7-2.
Okay. So, is there any chance the Hawks cannot do any could do any better than a gentleman's sweep from the Celtics?
Yeah, I mean,
Do you think?
If Trey Young gets hot, I mean, the Celtics down the stretch have lost games to the Jazz, the Wizards, us.
Yeah.
And they the health of Jaylen Brown. I'm sure he's fine, but he wasn't in the game we played. I don't think the I don't think the Celtics are as good as everyone's all scared of the big bad Celtics. I don't think they're as crazy good as everyone's making them out to be. Now they are a top 3 team in the East and a good team as far as that goes, but I think you can gash them. Is the Hawks going to do that? Probably not. I mean, maybe a gentleman's sweep. You're right. Maybe 6, but I don't imagine them being 20-point games though either.
Yeah.
So
All right. Then is there any chance that either right now there's a tie game 100-100, Chicago and Toronto with about a little over 3 minutes and change left in the game. Any chance that either one of those two teams or the Heat? I'm thinking it's the Heat most likely that goes into this. But say any chance any teams give the Bucks more headache than a gentleman's sweep?
no.
No, you don't
Yeah.
think the Heat could even win a couple games out of the deal?
The Heat might get 2.
Okay.
I just the Bucks. They're my biggest fear, and Lopez is just
More than the Celtics.
Yes,
Okay.
and I think we match up with the Bucks too. I mean, I know I'm like a homer, and I love, and I'm always optimistic about the Sixers, but I really think we match up with both of them if we play our game, obviously. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, the Bucks will move on. They're a veteran team. They're stacked. I just don't see a matchup for unless Jimmy Butler starts dropping 50 a night. But even if he does, Giannis is going to be right there dropping 30 or 40. And
he's not going to be able to do it every night.
Bobby Portis, you got, like I said, Lopez.
Middleton.
Then if you got Grayson Allen gets hot, you got Middleton, obviously, who hasn't been really the same. Drew Holiday,
yeah.
There's just so many names on that roster. And the one guy, Pat McConaughton, I can't believe I'm pronouncing it wrong. They just got a good lineup. They're number 1 for a reason.
All right. Well, like I said, it's 100-100 Chicago, Toronto, with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. So that brings us to your 76ers and Nets. The Nets team, I still think it's a gentleman's sweep. I don't think it's going to be any blowout games. I think people think this is going to be just a right in the park type situation for the Sixers. They'll win by 10 to 15 points every night. They might lose one game. But you got Mikal Bridges who might come to Philly and try to, hey, this is why you're all upset that you don't have me right now. You have young guys who are trying to make a name for themselves who everybody's betting against them. And the Sixers tend to struggle against these wiry young teams like that. So do you see any way the Sixers, I'm not saying I don't think they lose round 1, but do you see any way that there's a struggle where maybe this goes more than a gentleman's sweep?
I do. We've seen this before where Sixers teams play down to other teams. There's a lot of ways the Sixers can lose. Will they lose? I don't think so. I just predicted them a sweep on Party on Broad.
Yeah.
My 2 colleagues on there, Rob and Dives, said gentleman's sweep. But there's definitely a path for the Nets to win this, and it's hustle, rebounding. They can out hustle, out tough. We've been out toughed in the playoffs before.
Mm-hmm. Is this where PJ Tucker then shines?
Which he's going to be a big factor, and we'll go down everyone if you want. So, like PJ Tucker, let's talk about him last because I don't think he's the main factor. It all starts and begins with Joel Embiid.
Of course.
How are they going to stop Embiid? And you got Claxton, who's a nice player, plays very well, but he averages 4.5. And when he played in Embiid, he's averaging 4.5 fouls.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't see them holding up against him. They're going to probably try to throw a bunch of different looks at Embiid, double immediately, charge at him, see how he responds. They're a very athletic team defensively.
Mm-hmm.
So Embiid has proven, though, under Doc Rivers, I'll give Doc a little credit here, that he's learned the game better and been taught how to adjust to those different things. We watched the Celtics do it just a few weeks ago, throw doubles and even triples at him, and he knocks down that shot time after time. I think they may go with a small ball lineup with Dorian Finney-Smith and see how that goes. But then who is going to stop Joel Embiid? It comes down to him. Obviously, that's the easy take, number one. Second for me, I really think, and it maybe not this series, but more so the entire playoffs, comes down to James Harden. In this particular matchup, the Nets love to switch, so he could be matched up on whoever he does the pick and roll or pick and pop with. They're going to switch off, and that's going to make it hard to be able to run that with Embiid. At the same time, Harden's going to be able to get whatever matchup he wants on the court. So anytime he can just call the player over, set the pick, and get that matchup where he'll be able to drive himself and or get penetration and then find the open man on the outside, which kind of brings me to the key to the series, and that, to me, is the three-point line. It's Embiid one, obviously, but the three-point line on both sides is going to be how the Nets win or lose this thing. And the Sixers have to make their shots, have to make their threes. There's going to be a game where they don't, and that might be the game they lose. There might be two games, then that may be the game they lose, maybe not. More importantly, though, they need to defend the three-point line. This Nets offense isn't great. They were ranked, I think, 26th after the trade.
Sure.
As much as they've been winning. So to defend the three, they have a lot of shooters, though, that can get hot. Cam Johnson they traded for in this trade, as well as Bridges. He hasn't been hot as of late, but he's proven that he's been able to get hot and hit down threes with the Suns. You got Joe Harris, been very hot the last 5 games. Another big three-point shooter. Bridges, Spencer Dinwiddie, obviously. Seth Curry, another three-point shooter. I'm forgetting someone here with the I forget his name. I'm picturing him right now. Anyhow, the Sixers have to run them off the three-point line, and we've struggled with that. We've watched teams get open threes. We've watched Al Horford drain open threes. We've watched this happen. So if there's a concern for me, it's not defending the three. With that said, we should have enough firepower to outscore them. Like, even if we've shown that all year. We've gone down to teams, but no team has been able to stop us.
Yeah.
Therefore, if we're making our shots, I cannot see the Nets winning a 7-game series. They may take one, maybe game one, if we come out sluggish. I don't want to see that, though. I need to see, like, hey, we're here to play.
We're here. We're all business.
Yeah, we're all business here. Exactly.
Well, I mean, you said defense is important. When I need good defense, I go to David Archeri at cherryinjurylaw.com. Call him at 610-565-0300. You get hurt at work, you get hurt in a car accident, personal injury, criminal law, the man you need to call is David Archeri at 610-565-0300, or simply hit him up at cherryinjurylaw.com. So, two things that I point out earlier to somebody that I was talking with that is different right now for the Sixers going into this playoff, that is, number one, depth. Like, our bench is going to look, it used to be, Joel, who was injured at one point during the series, and that, threw things off. James Harden was not James Harden that we have right now. And then it just fell off. He kind of fell off. He had some good work from Tobias Harris, but other than that, it fell off. Tyrese Maxey kind of became a little bit of a non-factor at one point, especially in that Toronto series. So I think that's number one. But Freddie Burns, who is your starting 5, or who's your bench 8 right now going into this playoff?
What do you mean?
Your 8 guys are getting the most play time.
Yeah. Okay. We better not go eight deep on the bench.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Who's the 8
deep overall? Yeah. 7 or 8 deep. So obviously, except for right there, you got Harden, Maxey, Harris, Embiid, Tucker.
Okay.
Depending on the matchup, you're gonna go Melton. I didn't name him there. Melton, Niang.
I think Niang.
Paul Reed. Well, Niang's big with the 3. We need that shot. They're my 8.
Is that for this series? if you get in a second series or third series when you need better defense, you think
I think Niang would be big in the Buck series. He's a liability probably in the Celtic series. He's a liability. He's always a liability if he's not making shots.
Yeah,
but so is JJ Redick, and so is any other Bellinelli and any other 3-point shooter we've had.
They had him covering Tatum at one point in that Celtics game, but or for most of the time. But like my thing is, I could see in the.
But they also had him covering Giannis, which was made it work because then. No, they flipped. They had Tucker on Giannis. Then there was another game where they had him on Giannis. He wasn't stopping Giannis, but he was just slowing him down, which is all you can do with Giannis. So there are.
How about Daniel House? Did you see him getting any play time?
He's been getting ticked lately, and people are like about him. Suddenly, I think he stinks. Like I don't think his defense is good. He doesn't make the three though. As of late, he started to make a few shots, but these are in games that don't matter. Like they don't even count. He's getting a ton of playing time.
What about Jalen? I might blank on his list.
Springer.
No,
McDaniel.
Jaden
Springer. My fault there. So yeah, he's got to be in the rotation too. So I would say he probably would go over Niang right now unless they need shooting.
Yeah,
you just don't know with Doc. He could go 9 deep. I just hope the guy doesn't do an all bench lineup. That's probably a next top. Like we could talk about question marks with him. But that's probably. McDaniel hasn't been in the playoffs though. Like he hasn't been in this, so I don't know.
Okay.
And then here I'll go further, and this might be me listening to the right to Ricky Sanchez too much and Mike Levin. Shout out to that podcast, but like Springer showed me so much on Trae Young that I have now this is a Springer hater. Like I'm like, this guy is Zaire Smith. Like because he looked like a ghost every game he played. He looked so unsure of himself. But then like he only got a minute or two at the end of blowouts. Played so well the other night that I'm like, dude, if the defense is poor, do you sub him in now and let him play some D? I don't know. Maybe not this series.
Well, actually, wouldn't you do it more this series than you would do in a more
if you're struggling?
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's my kind of my
age. You're saying Paul Reed is the backup to Joel Embiid. He's
my God, he has to be, doesn't he?
Yeah. Like the way he's been playing, I always used to say when Paul Reed played, I always felt like he was trying to do his best Joel Embiid impression, but it wasn't always hitting. But he's been playing better. He hasn't been trying to be Joel, but he has been doing Joel-esque type things. Like he driving to the court, not getting in stupid fouls. Because sometimes that was just some of the fouls he had were just. I'm like, what? Like, what were you thinking when you did that? Like, it was just dumb. But yeah, no, he, not just from the scoring standpoint, he's just playing better defense. He's not becoming, because when he was out there at one point, I can understand why, Doc wasn't super sold on him all the time because he was kind of up and down. And when he was out on the court, he was fouling out fast, but he was also not defending well. So, and he's not scoring at all. So I can see why you're not sold on him. And they had to go through a couple guys. And maybe he needed them to see, like, maybe they don't trust me. Fine. But maybe bringing in Dwayne Dedman, something like that had to have him to go, all right, I got to step it up or I'm out of here.
And it's some of it's on Doc, like, what the hell are we playing? Like, when he played Dedman that night, it was just so obviously clear. Like, they lost that game because he started Dwayne Dedman. And, and Morey, why is Morey signing him? Like, and right now it's 105-104. The Bulls, big dunk by Siakam. Oh, wow.
19 seconds left. 19.7.
Oh, Chicago. Jeez. If they get into the 8th seed to give the Bucks the biggest walk ever, it'd be ridiculous. But where was I at there?
Paul Reed.
Paul Reed, yeah. Like, I just think he's proven it. Like, he's not a great backup center either. Like, he's not like, oh, if I had my pick, give me Paul Reed. But he's a young player, and what he brings is energy, hustle, and he's going to rebound. He may make some dumb fouls, but all we need is 10 minutes out of him. I can't every single playoffs in the Embiid era, we've had the backup center come in and just go on a run. We just need him to be even or -2, -4. We can't have the backup center come into the game and the team go on a 10-0 run.
Yeah.
And then Embiid has to come back in.
And that was the problem. And that always was the problem, except when we had Drummond. Drummond was the only one who kept.
But we didn't see Drummond, not to cut you off, we didn't see Drummond in the playoffs. And Drummond was the problem for the Nets in the playoffs because it becomes a half-court game. It's a much different game. In the playoffs, they call fouls harder. Or not they call it foul. They They let some go. They let you be a little more physical. I think Paul Reed, let him use all the fouls. Let him use 6 fouls.
I mean, listen, I'm all right with that.
As long as he comes off the floor and we're netting a positive or
not
negative.
losing. We're not, just kissing your sister for a lack of
That's all
better
I want
word.
from the guy.
Yeah.
He gets you some easy bas. You know what I mean? So I mean, if I see Harrell or Dedman, I am not a completely fired Doc guy.
Mhm.
I don't think he's as terrible as everyone makes him out to be. But I also know that he's not that great as everyone makes him out to be. He's hanging on the laurels of a championship from 2006 is ridiculous.
Is there somebody? I'm not that we get in this conversation too much, but you don't even have to answer the question, but just say yes or no. Is there somebody out there that you would rather have that would be semi-available coaching, or somebody on the staff already?
No, I mean, because you don't know. Jorger picks is intriguing. Sam Cassell has always been intriguing, but watching him coach, he seems like more of a fundamentals guy, teaching the guys, working on their game in the post. But I don't know. So I don't know what you get out of firing Doc. I mean, Joel Embiid has improved so much under Doc that people just act like Embiid did that on his own. Like, no, he came in. The first thing he said to Ben Simmons is, the offense runs through Joel Embiid. That was his first message to the team. Ben, the offense runs through Embiid, and he's ran it through him since, and Embiid has improved and gotten better and better. So to fully crush Doc is one end. But then again, there are other flaws. Mm-hmm. And like he just got interviewed a few weeks ago about the all bench lineup and will he do it? And he's named his rosters. And then he uses the Celtics championship as his example of when an all bench roster worked. That was 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, and he lost to Kobe in one of those finals as well, and when they were favored. So, like, I don't hate Doc as much as everything. His arrogance rubs people the wrong way.
I definitely. I mean, Keith,
and rightfully so. Even like him doing that interview and saying that, he's like, "No, dude, you were wrong for doing the all bench lineup.
Yeah.
You were wrong for not playing Paul Reed quicker. You're wrong for and maybe this is Morey for picking Korkmaz over Isaiah Joe. I know it was a contract thing, but like Isaiah Joe loves him. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, and then Paul Reed. Everyone says he hates him. I don't know. I just don't.
He definitely does. I think it's because people shove Paul Reed down his throat, and he just gets upset about it. Like, you don't tell me what to do. I'm Doc Rivers. I think it's that kind of Paul Reed victory. Like he's in a nice way. He threw his own guy under the bus. Like,
yeah,
Paul Reed knows he's not Joel Embiid, but you can't compare anybody playing on that team to Joel Embiid or anybody in the league. Like, unless you want to talk about like Giannis or somebody, like you can't compare anybody to Joel Embiid. But how do you not build confidence in a young guy like him?
I mean, they could have just never signed Harold, never signed Dedman, and just played him. Mm-hmm. Doc obviously said to Morey, he's not it for my backup center. Mm-hmm. Get me a backup center. Instead of saying, let's roll. Let's roll with the kid. Imagine if we had those 2 roster spots to have an athletic wing or a backup point guard.
Yeah.
A point guard that's going to run the offense. Even like an energy guy, like a TJ McConnell, mm-hmm. or like a Mac McClung. Actually, the other night was Ryan.
I was going to say, did you watch that Nets Sixers bench game?
Yes, of course. I went back and forth with the Phillies. I'm a process guy. I love watching that stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, it was cool. And Mac McClung showed me more than I thought.
20 points, right?
But he was hitting the 3. He reminded me of TJ McConnell. And TJ McConnell, for years said he's not a starter, and he's not. He's a third point guard, which he now has become with the Pacers for the most part. He did get paid. He's not an everyday starter, but he's a good part of a team. So, but yeah, I watched that game. But as far as like this playoff matchup, I'm really excited to get back in the playoffs. Is there going to be a Doc game where we're just blow like smoke coming out of our ears? I don't know. Are they going to blow leads?
Well, I think that's where we lose. I think we're going to lose a game in the gentleman's sweep. It's because Doc's going to frustrate. He's going to. Or
I have to see the game though. Like, if they're 0 for 1, if they're 6 for 32 from the 3-point line, and I mean, there's so many factors that go into that. Like, what's the Nets? That's another reason bringing up the 3-point again. They're 26th in the league, but I think they're 8th since the trade and 3-pointers made. and they're third in 3-pointers made from the corner.
Mhm.
All spots that we don't defend well. Is it Doc's fault, or is it the players on the court's fault that Joel Embiid has to run another? Now I'm rambling here now, but like now that's another point. Joel Embiid, with them not having a stretch center, will allow Joel Embiid to sit in the paint more and not have to come out, which may help that perimeter defense. But is that Doc's fault all the time? I don't know.
No, I mean
The lineups are what killed me.
the players play. I mean, the old saying is players play, and it's just when they seem out of sorts, when they come out of a timeout or something, and they still give up a crucial three
Doesn't
or
draw
something.
up a good play.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
I see that. Or like the lineups are definitely just the most mind-boggling things ever. But it looks like he finally understood Dedmon and Harrell are not it. Paul Reed time. So
That's good. And it's about time, and it took a little bit.
time out. You could also go PJ Tucker backup center where Paul Reed wouldn't get minutes as well.
Does that depend on who's playing center?
Yeah. If it's Dorian Finney-Smith, they go small ball lineup. Maybe we match it that way. There's different combinations.
Okay. And different combinations of choices for you at phillysportstrips.com. Look at this list, man. Some things are completed, some things are sold out. The next thing coming up is the draft on April 27th through the 30th. You can head out to Kansas City. They're heading out to Colorado both for the Phillies and the Union. The London Leeds trip is sold out. So that's it, guys. We don't just tell you about Philly Sports Trips. They are the premier way to travel. Travel like a pro at phillysportstrips.com. This is just a taste of things coming up till May. They got different trips coming up for baseball. If you want to go to Pittsburgh, you want to go out to the West Coast, they got it all. Go to phillysportstrip.com. And don't forget in May when the actual schedule for the NFL drops, their schedule drops too. And they will have all the trips for the away games for the Philadelphia Eagles. So check them out. They sold out every game they went to, sold out every trip they went to last year. You can't beat it. phillysportstrip.com, from simple bus trips to the Yankee Stadium, all the way heading out to London. They got you covered to fit any budget. phillysportstrips.com.
Bulls eliminate the Raptors.
I'm actually happy about that. I just don't like the Raptors.
You're still the double doink still getting you.
Yeah, I guess. They were showing that during their what?
I don't care for them either.
Yeah, first part, they're poser fans. They just sit there and they crowd up in the front of their thing.
I like the Toronto fan base. I think
I
they're cool.
don't like them. I don't like them. I just shot at Gary Group. He knows what I'm talking about. I was messing with him, the Toronto guys. But our boy over at All Lacrosse, he's from Toronto there. But the Bulls, I mean, whatever. I still think no matter who won this game, the Heat were going to win the play-in tournament anyway. So,
I guess there's something to say for DeMar DeRozan and his experience in the playoffs, though he was always choked. They got rid of him and got Kawhi. That's when the Raptors finally won. I didn't even think of that. So DeRozan goes back to Toronto and knocks them out of the playoffs. That's got to be pretty cool for him.
Yeah.
But then him and Levine, who knows? There's always a puncher's chance. It's one game. That's the thing about this play-in. It's one game. It's not a series. Two things I forgot to mention about the Nets, though, but Mikal Bridges, obviously, I was going with the other stuff. The obvious is obviously Mikal Bridges is a problem. How are they going to defend Bridges now that he's in that star role? And then two local guys, Bridges and then Dorian Finney-Smith is from Chester, I believe. So you got a Malvern guy and a Chester guy coming into Philly, which is a cool storyline. And then Spencer Dinwiddie as well, I think has ties to the area. So that's going to be. They're going to be pumped. They're going to be coming out ready to fight. Could they steal game one? I was there 4 years ago when it happened. I was so mad.
What was that?
It was the series where Ben put up 0 at one time.
Or the one? No, he put up 1 point, right?
Him, and then it was him. No, maybe he did that in the Raptor series, but it was, or maybe I forget. But it was him versus Dudley. Dudley's going like this, and then Ben came back at him, and Ben actually.
We all thought that was a turnaround.
Yeah, we thought he like grew from that, and obviously no. So,
so does Ben sit on the bench for this? No,
I can't imagine he does.
You think he even travels with the team?
He's such a
wiener.
Like he's just such a wimp. He's just so disappointing. I can't even like.
I could
Because even you, anyone else, like me as the Ben defender all the time on the show, it's just he's not even what he was here. Like
no.
he was a good player.
I think like you know we all
he had flaws, but he was still a good player.
Well, we all thought like, oh, he's faking the mental thing. I think
especially defensively. He was very he could guard all 4 and 5. I mean,
like I said, I think a lot of people thought he was faking the mental thing. I think he's mental, but just not in the way.
I know it might be real. Like I feel bad. I kind of was tweeting that it was bullcrap. It just was weird how it went down with the money and everything.
That's it. And like I think like what happened was the pressure got to him. Maybe the best thing that happened the worst thing that happened to Ben Simmons was coming to a city like Philadelphia, who are going to put you under a microscope, and he just didn't have that winning attitude. He didn't have that, give me the ball, I want it, attitude. Like he just didn't.
I don't think he ever will,
and I don't think he ever did, and will, nor wanted to. He just liked skating by off his talent. He didn't want to work on anything.
I mean, he worked on things. I mean, but he just didn't work on the shooting because I think he looked at himself as a playmaker. But he's just a total shell of that. He's just. But I do not. Let's not go down his path. No. But like I do expect, which will be cool, if it is a gentleman's sweep or even in game 2 or 1. Where's Ben Simmons? Where's Ben Simmons? Or people could travel up to Brooklyn too. We're close. If they're down 3-0. Those tickets will then suddenly become face value because what Brooklyn person wants to go and watch it?
Yeah, and
maybe we go up.
I go on ShowsTickets.com.
Yeah,
best way to do it. I've used them many times in a pinch.
I use them for Disney on Ice, saving a ton.
There you go.
15 rows off the ice.
So that's we'll cover it a little bit more. When's the actual first game is
Saturday at 1:00.
Saturday, right? Yeah. Let's talk quickly because we don't have a lot of time here. I know you covered a lot on Party on Broad tonight with the draft. I mean, I know they've been covering it like crazy, and we will be releasing the schedule for the draft this year. It's gonna be good. Trust me, guys, better than ever. I mean, we've done a good job in the past. I'll admit that. These guys are just gonna blow out the water. There's a lot of cool things going on with it this year.
Another level.
Yeah. So we will.
They've been doing a ton on Bleeding Green Nation, BGM Radio.
Yeah. You're gonna have Dibes. You're gonna have Shane Haff and Mark Henry Jr. at the forefront, just leading like warriors, like the 300 leading through the hot gates. That's what they're gonna do, and you're gonna get the best coverage here at EoP Sports. But I know I've seen your video. We've talked about it a few times.
Which one?
You don't take Bijan at 10.
You don't take a running back at all in the first round.
Now I've seen some mock drafts lately where Bijan has fallen back as far as 27.
No.
No.
I mean, Joe made a good argument last week. I'm not like grab Devon Duchesne out of Texas A&M in the 4th round. I don't understand it. I just don't.
What are your positions that you hit? Is it all defense in the first round at least?
Or offensive line. The only thing I would say that I kind of fell away from the offensive line a bit is Jeff Stoutland University, that he can basically turn anyone into anything. I don't think that's fully true, though. Dillard, Big V, like they were adequate. But we need like guys that are going to take over for the future,
Yeah, and listen, even this year, if Cam Jurgens steps in for right guard position, because Samalu is now in Pittsburgh, he plays this year and does great. Let's just say he does great. Just like, because we all thought Landon Dickerson was going to be the center of the future. Well, obviously he's not. He's going to be the guard of the future. Cam Jurgens comes in. So Jason Kelsey, he's probably going to leave at the end of this year no matter what. And you're going to have to move Cam over. So do we have anybody on staff that you feel comfortable with being the right guard of the future, or do you worry about that next year?
No, that's why I would draft that now. Joe Banner was so good at this, and it seems like he's starting to like get onto this. Like draft them ahead of time. He definitely does it with the tight end. He's now doing it with the offensive
Cam's out a
lineman.
year now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's he's getting it.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by that because it's good. You know what I mean? He's staying interior. He's winning up front. Andy Reid embedded that in the organization, and it's stayed, and it's important. Look at all the success he has. I know he has the quarterback, but even with Alex Smith, those Chiefs teams were good because he wins up front first. So, I really like Cyrus O'Torrance out of Florida. I think we can get him late first round. Guard, but if not, there's plenty of guys under Stoutland University that can be taken. Am I necessarily going to want one at 10? Skoronski's the newest rumor. I'm not going to knock it because they know what they're doing with that the line.
I'm the only one who gets excited over linemen. I know.
I wouldn't get excited. I feel like with Stoutland, he's proven that he can develop these guys. So unless he's going to be, you got to get ready for Lane too. Like Lane is injured every year.
That was my conversation with Joe earlier during the season when we brought up the draft. I said, who do you draft? Because at that time, you saw all your defensive players, so you weren't really worrying about them as much. And you go tried and true defensive tackle, defensive end, maybe.
Harris Johnson Jr. That's another one they could take.
Yeah.
That. I'm not gonna if that happens, I'm not gonna be upset about it. Because I think it's a smart move. Even the kid from the Georgia, Broderick Jones. So they're the top guys per se. If they're at 10, I'm probably trading back at 10. I really feel like that is
a couple mid-round,
barring Jalen Carter, which could be a revolutionary talent, could be a Warren Sapp, could be that level of player. But Aaron Donald maybe, but I guess Will Myers is that too, though. But as long as I think I'm going to be happy as long as they don't take a running back or a linebacker.
If they take Bijan at 30, or you're done. You're gonna kick some over.
I understand
Hold on. Let me ask you this question then.
I'm not going to kick stuff over. I'm just going to be like, dude, what is the point? And he will be.
Do you think in any way
we can't afford to pay him in 4 years if we're going to sign?
So you're getting him for 4 years. That's it. You
5. You can get the rookie 5. Dude.
Yeah.
You can get 5 out of it.
Well, that's still what 6.
But it's like 7 or 8 million a year.
And they're not going to pay him that.
Why? They're going to have to if they pick him. They have a rookie wage scale now that they're forced into these.
No, I'm just saying they won't.
As a rookie, that's what he's going to get paid.
Oh yeah.
What are we doing? I don't. And then what if he's a bust? Now, what happens if he's not? What if he's Ricky Williams?
I was going to say, well,
Ricky Williams wasn't a bust, but he wasn't who we thought he was going to be.
That's true.
He was a very good player, very, very good. But it's just what happens then? It's much easier to recover. I wouldn't do it. I would. They're not going to go safety, but I would go Brian Branch at safety. I really would go corner, edge rusher, trade back, take Nolan Smith out of Georgia. Miles Murphy, another Clemson kid. That's another one. I feel like you trade back, add picks this year. You could trade back probably, add a third, because we're high end. There's different things because these quarterbacks. You got to see what happens here. If these quarterbacks fall, someone has to go up and get Richardson. Or people already go up and get these players. Then if the top 3 quarterbacks go, now the top 10 players are now from 4 on. So now there's so many ways to go about this. Drafting a running back, Bijan Robinson, is not one of the ways to build a franchise. Look at the teams that win Super Bowls. I don't want to go on this tangent again.
I know.
But look at the dynasty of the Patriots. What you know what I mean?
Plug and play running back.
They drafted Sony Michel at 32.
Yeah.
I'll accept it at the end of the round. It is what it is, but it depends who's there too. And I would rather trade back at the end of the round if the opportunity is there, than draft a running back and draft that running back in the 3rd, 4th.
Would you rather, if you can take those two, take 2 of those?
Westbrook was what, a 3rd round pick, 2nd?
3rd. He was 3rd.
So our Super Bowls are Westbrook,
Miles Sanders,
and then LeGarrette Blount, Corey Clement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing the 3rd guy. Ajayi, we traded for him, 4th round pick.
We used the last bit of need he got.
If we need a running back, we'll go trade for him. We'll just do something like that.
what positions are you really like? If you're going by position, what are you looking at the most?
I want to go corner.
What corner?
I think we move on from Slay after
So if
the
they're at,
season.
if Jalen Carter's gone and they don't go Bijan, of course, and maybe he's even gone somehow. If at 10, will you move back to 15 to add a couple third or fourth round picks to, or add more middle round picks that we don't have right now?
Yeah.
And that's
Pretty sure I just said that, Al.
But I'm saying, was that where you would add in? What would you put in with those mid round picks? And like, if you're going by position,
it depends who they take, but yeah, I just fill depth. I'd take a running back. I'd fill depth. I don't know. There's the Antonio.
Would you go lineman in that, or do you just think that's just not?
Yeah. Who's they talking about today? I was reading Utah. What's it? Braden Daniels, another tackle out of Utah. Like I'm not a draft analyst as far as like study, but I watch what other people do and or say about players. Like, oh, he looks good. That guy looks good. You know,
Sure.
This and that. Like the one guy, the safety, Antonio Johnson out of Texas A&M. The running back out of Texas A&M, but back to that safety. The safety, I brought him up on Party on Broad. He plays safety. He plays corner, a little bit of linebacker.
So he was.
Is that not an Eagle?
I was going to say, that's a couple Eagles I can think of. But
like move them around.
Yeah.
Like that's Malcolm Jenkins.
They love that versatility.
That's Brian Dawkins.
Yeah.
Like that's draft him. I don't think Reed Blankenship and who's the other guy? Come on. The defense had issues. Like we're gonna not regret, but we're gonna realize that Gannon hit a lot of things. You know, that Giants game, they were targeting Blankenship. We just got out in front of them.
I think Blankenship held his own.
But I just don't. I don't think he's maybe he is. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, there's the thing.
But like to draft and have extreme talent at the position would be a different story. So
is there a trade in the draft? And I mean by like kind of like what they did with AJ Brown, where you trade for a player versus a. I mean, I think it's hard because whoever they bring in, most likely somebody's either going to get paid or getting paid. Unless they're going to bring somebody they just some young stud that they just drafted a couple of years ago and they're willing to unload him already. I doubt that much. I don't see you getting somebody on a rookie contract even for a first round pick.
Yeah,
or at least more than a year.
I like the trade. I wish we would have done the Jeff Okudah trade that the Falcons just did.
Yeah,
that would have been a cool trade. A fifth round. We don't have a fifth round.
Do you think even outside of the draft, do you think Howie makes some more depth moves, or is it just pretty much drafting free agents? Or
I think it's draft and that's it. Yeah,
UFA.
I mean, we've pretty much said who they're going to take. Like, I don't. I mean, there's Jeremy Chin. It depends what the holes are. Jeremy Chin may possibly be available. Maybe that trade happens, but I'm not giving up a first round pick.
No, I'm not saying first round. I'm just saying even
we don't have many picks though. Al, we have a first, we have a late second, a late third, and then 2 sevens.
That's it, right? There's no fifth or sixth.
Yeah,
or
a four.
No four. Yeah.
So like, you know what I mean? That's why it's even more important. And we have a ton of drafts in 2024. I understand that, but like, I'm not worried about 2024
yet.
How
many draft picks do we have in 2024?
I don't know the exact number. I think there's about
Do they
10.
trade some of those to get back up in those middle rounds?
You could do that.
Okay.
That's an option, or you trade back. I mean, this is the cool thing about Howie. There's so many things. It makes it fun. And what team that just went to the Super Bowl is at 10 with all these options? It's really awesome. And at one point, this was going to be a top 3 pick. Do you remember?
Yeah.
The Saints went on a little bit of a run.
We screwed ourselves. We probably went from at least a 7 or 8 spot. We probably lost 2 or 3 spots in the draft when we lost to the Saints.
I know.
Yeah.
But, it still 10's great.
Yeah.
No, I'm so excited for this draft.
I'm not complaining. I mean, that move with the Saints was amazing. Because what did we give up for that? We flopped with them, right?
I don't even know what.
No, that was.
Where did it stem from?
That wasn't we flopped with them. They made that in the middle. They flopped with the Saints, and they took one of the 2 first round picks they had 2 years ago. Kept the 1, turned the 1 into this first round pick plus a couple smaller ones. That's what it was. I think. Pretty sure I'm on it. But guys, here is your lineup here.
One other guy. Before the lineup, I forgot to say his name, and this is a guy I would definitely take with our second round pick, Marvin Mims.
Okay.
He's fast as hell. He's small.
Is he related to?
He makes contested. I don't know if he's related to Denzel Mims.
Yeah.
He can return punts, and then he'll fill that slot role. He will fill the slot, and we would have now. I'd rather do that than running back. You know what I mean? And then when AJ Brown's contract's up, see where this guy's at. He could be like Tyreek Hill for all we know. Deshaun Jackson type speed. He ran a 4.38 in the combine. Was it a 4.38? Hold on, let me look this up. Might have been a 4.32 at one point. I don't know. He's fast as hell. So,
I do like their speed guys.
Now,
the first thing
the
first thing if you Google is Marvin Mims related.
He did the 4.38. Oklahoma, good program. He's
the brother of Denzel Mims.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Average 19.5 yards per catch, long strider, dangerous speed, locks in focus to track and adjust to deep throws. I mean, this would be the answer to who's our 7th round pick that came up small with a fumble.
When? Today?
Our speed guy. Why am I drawing a blank here? He's out of like Mississippi, Missouri State or something. We drafted him in 7th round. He's our 3rd receiver last year. Not Zach Pascal.
Quez
Watkins. I was just drawing. This would fill the Quez Watkins. 6th or 7th, yeah.
Okay, I didn't think it was 7. That's why I was confused.
It might have been 7. 6. It's definitely 6 or 7. You know, and then the key is now we get a punt returner that can actually be a punt returner. Maybe bring some stuff, but sorry, I had to get him in.
That's fine. And like I said, there's going to be plenty of stuff going on here, plenty of Fightins finals. Like I said earlier today, you were on Party on Broad talking draft as well as the Sixers. Chet and Bill over at Philly Press Box Radio had Keith Pompey on talking Sixers and plenty of other Philly sports. And there will be a Sixers versus Nets round 1 NBA playoff preview tomorrow at 8 here on EoP Sports. And there is other mock drafts, draft videos, shorts, you name it. Follow us. It's on our YouTube channel. It's on TikTok. It's on our website. All that stuff. So a lot of good things going on here at EoP. I want to thank our great sponsors. Let's start with Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park, at dolansbar.com. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, as well as the TikTok. Quizzo Music, great times, memorabilia with PJ. You never know who's going to walk through the door there because I've met some great Philly sports heroes by just hanging out at Dolan's Bar, the most Elko bar, still holding that moniker. Don't forget PhillySportsTrips.com for all your traveling needs. When you want to travel like a pro, you travel with PhillySportsTrips.com. And if you're staying locally and you grab a ticket somewhere, you go to Sherry'sTickets.com and save yourself an additional 10% off by using that promo code EOP10. No hidden fees, great prices on those hard-to-get tickets, Sherry'sTickets.com. And once again, hey, sometimes life throws you a curveball. David R. Cherry's your man. You go workers' comp, motor vehicle. You get hurt at work, you get hurt in a car accident, you get hurt, slip and fall, whatever it is, or you get some criminal issues, you go David R. Cherry at 610-565-0300, or simply follow him online at cherryinjurylaw.com. Any parting shots there, Freddie?
Flyers. They just had to win that game. They had a small chance.
Yep.
To get to 6. They just had to win, and now I think they're pretty much locked in at 7. So
that's it. They will continue to let us down until otherwise seen. But I guess you're saying there's a chance they could still get the first overall pick.
There now would have been an 8.5% chance. Now there's going to be a 6.5% chance. Yeah. Well, maybe we can get into the top 3. That would be good too.
So we'll find out. But they need, and I don't know if you were on the show, it was a couple weeks ago. Our boy Philly sports guy Jamie, he was mid-ice, doing his normal thing, but he said one thing: they don't need Connor Bednard. They need something to build this franchise around.
They need a star,
and he would have been a great way to bring people here. I don't think anybody wants to play for Philly in the NHL. Like, would you want to? I couldn't imagine. Like, if I'm gonna get a payday.
I mean, they don't have the money to pay him anyway. They did have a guy. His name's Johnny Gaudreau, and he's from South Jersey, and they didn't want to pay him. So
their BS line for not taking him, man. Oh, don't get me started on that one. But other than that, we have one comment here. Hey, Dave, what's going on, bud?
What's up, Dave? How are you, man?
But other than
Thanks
that,
for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening, bud. Other than that, I'm Big Al.
I'm Freddie Burns.
And guys, follow us back. Joey will be back. I promise. We'll see him then. But other than that, we are out.
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.